Thank you for joining us tonight. You're now with me, Charles Shaminato, for TVS Nightline. Let's begin with the headlines tonight. Chief Minister Datuk Patinggi Tan Sri ABANG JOHARI Tunapang expressed his appreciation to all voters who have contributed to the shaping of a stable government in the recent state election. In a statement today, ABANG JOHARI said the Gabungan Party Sarawak or GPS coalition has received the mandate from the people of Sarawak in a bid to defend their rights.
Commenting further, ABANG JOHARI said GPS will continue its efforts in developing an inclusive socio-economy in order to ensure that no one is left behind. At the same time, ABANG JOHARI expressed his gratitude to all Election Commission EC personnel, those in the public and state sectors, election officials, health and security enforcers, media practitioners and all parties involved in ensuring the 12th Sarawak state election ran smoothly. He also congratulated all candidates from all political or independent parties who participated in the election, who he describes as nurturing the practices and principles of democracy in Sarawak. Gabungan Party Sarawak has won 76 out of 82 seats in the Sarawak State Legislative Assembly.
The August House today has passed a bill to amend the federal constitution in line with the provisions in the Malaysia Agreement or MA63, surpassing a two-thirds majority. 49 senators voted in favor of the bill in a block voting after the second and third reading, while 5 others were absent. Senate President Tan Sri Dr. Rais Yatim said the block voting was done as Article 159 of the Federal Constitution stated that such a bill shall not be passed unless it has been supported on the second and third readings by the votes of not less than two-thirds of the total number of members of the Senate. He said no senators voted against the bill on both readings. On December 14, the bill was passed at the Dewan Rakyat, also with more than two-thirds majority. Following up on this matter, Minister in the Prime Minister's Department of Parliament and Law, Dr. Sri Dr. Wan Junaidi Tuanku Jaffa said, with the nod given by both Houses of Parliament, the bill only required the royal assent before it can be turned into an Act of Parliament.
The bill gives recognition to the demands and special status of Sabah and Sarawak upon joining Malaysia in the Federal Constitution in line with the provisions in the Malaysia Agreement 1963, hence strengthening the position of Sabah and Sarawak in the Federation of Malaysia. The amendments involve the list of the states of the Federation in Clause 2 of Article 1, the definition of the Federation, and the new definition of Malaysia Day in Clause 2 of Article 160, the indigenous races of Sarawak in clause subsection 6 subsection A of Article 161A, and to remove clause 7 of Article 161A of the Federal Constitution.
Sarawakians, together with their spouse and families returning to the state from abroad, will be quarantined at the first point of entry beginning today. Sarawak Disaster Management Committee (SDMC) today confirmed that returning Sarawakians would have to be quarantined at either KLIA 1 or KLIA 2 before they are allowed to return to the land of Hornbills. According to the statement made by SDMC today, the Sarawak State Liaison Office will be managing the quarantine centres, and any reservation for quarantine places can be made to the Liaison Office via the website shown on the screen. The reservation must be made within 7 to 10 working days before entering Malaysia. For non-Sarawakians, including long-term pass holders who want to travel into Sarawak via the Peninsular Malaysia, they are also required to be quarantined at KLIA 1 or KLIA 2, which would be managed by the Ministry of Health MOH. On the other hand, Sarawakans have been advised to make the necessary preparations for possible floods and landslides. This was due to the forecasted monsoon surge, thus causing continuous rain, especially along the western side of Sarawak. In making the call, Malaysian Meteorological Department or MAT Malaysia Sarawak Director Hawari Hamdan said continuous rain and heavy rainfall are expected in the state. Hawari also advised members of the public to take these warnings seriously and to take the Selangor flood incident as a lesson for precautionary measures. This was in accordance to the recent flooding that hit parts of the central and east coast regions of Peninsular Malaysia. Earlier yesterday, MAT Malaysia stated that a monsoon surge is expected to occur from December 27 to 29, with continuous rain in the western part of Sarawak and eastern Sabah during the period. Hawari also added that there is also a possibility of continuous rain even after that period. And now on to the COVID-19 development. COVID-19 cases recorded in Sarawak continues to show a downward trend as only 35 infections were recorded in the state today. The new infections brings the cumulative number of COVID-19 cases in Sarawak to 252,129 cases.
Sarawak Disaster Management Committee SDMC today announced that from the total, 7 cases showed no symptoms, while 26 cases exhibit mild symptoms. SDMC stated that 2 cases were classified as Category 5, where both of the patients suffered from lung infection requiring the use of ventilators. No new fatalities due to the infectious coronavirus were recorded today. SDMC has also revealed that no new clusters have emerged.
Welcome back to the Nightline. And now on to the next update. The Ministry of Health is ready to deal with cases involving waterborne diseases at all facilities, including its temporary operation centres, following the ongoing floods in several states.
He said the Ministry of Health has also mobilized medical personnel to most relief centres, PPS, aside from establishing an operation centre in Taman Sri Muda, Section 25 here, to facilitate and expedite health screenings. Khairi also advised the public, especially in flood-hit areas, to seek immediate treatment at the Ministry's healthcare facilities should they fall sick. Meanwhile, he said 13 COVID-19 Omicron variant cases have been detected in Malaysia so far. along with a reported 61 suspected cases, which are now under observation. Earlier, Khairi officiated the National Institutes of Health Research Awards ceremony and the Health Research Priority Book under the 12 Malaysia Plan.
The Ministry of Housing and Local Government (KPKT) has assured that all flood-hit states will receive the recovery and clean-up assistance, including states that have not adopted the Solid Waste and Public Cleansing Management Act 2007 or Act 672.
Citing Selangor as an example, its Minister Datuk Seri Rizal American Naina American said recovery assistance is still being extended to the state by the Solid Waste Management and Public Cleansing Corporation, SW Corp. He added that the ministry has allocated a total of 6 million ringgit to SW Corp to carry out cleanup works at residential areas and roads in states affected by floods. According to Act 672, Solid Waste and Public Cleansing in Johor, Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, Pahang, Kedah, Perlis, the federal territories of Putrajaya and Kuala Lumpur are under the management of KPKT, while Selangor, Penang, Perak, Kelantan, Terengganu, Sabah, Sarawak and the federal territory of Labuan manage their solid waste and public cleansing independently. Selangor, Pahang, Terengganu, Kelantan, Negeri Sembilan, Melaka and Perak are among the states ravaged by the floods since Sunday.
A total of 37 fatalities and 10 missing person reports were received in flood-affected regions throughout Malaysia as of last night. Inspector General of Police Tan Sri Akral Sani Abdullah Sani said from the total, 5 deaths were reported in the past 24 hours, involving 4 adults and 1 child, while 2 victims are still missing.
Sehingga kini, sejumlah 68,341 mangsa-mangsa banjir yang direkodkan yang berada di pusat pemindahan sementara di seluruh negara, melibatkan 18,080 keluarga. Jadi setakat ini sejumlah 7 negeri secara khususnya telah terkesan dengan bencana banjir ini, iaitu di Perak, di Kuala Lumpur, di Selangor, Negeri Sembilan, Melaka, Pahang dan di Kelantan. Dan setakat ini mengikut maklumat yang kita terima, negeri Pahang merupakan antara yang paling terkesan teruk dengan bencana banjir pada kali ini.
In this regard, he said 137 roads were still closed due to floods so far, involving 4 states with 120 locations in Pahang, 2 locations in Negeri Sembilan, 3 locations in Kelantan, and 12 locations in Selangor. Apart from that, based on information from the Department of Irrigation and Drainage, as at 2:30 a.m., 23 locations of rivers were placed under danger and warning levels. The danger level involved 13 locations with 9 rivers in Pahang, on each in Selangor and Johor, and 2 in Kelantan, while the rivers with warning levels were 1 each in Selangor and Johor and 2 each in Pahang, Kelantan, Melaka and Sarawak. The acceptance rate of the COVID-19 vaccine booster dose in Malaysia has been satisfying. However, Deputy Health Minister Dr. Noor Azmi Ghazali said the majority of recipients chose to take a booster dose of the same type of vaccine as their first and second primary dose. He said, based on the questionnaire entitled Perceptions of Booster Dosage among the Malaysian Population by the Clinical Research Institute on October 15 to 26, 76.2% of respondents agreed to take a booster dose, and of the total, only 39.9% agreed to a different or heterologous type of vaccine with primary dose. He was responding to a question from Senator Datuk Teo Eng Tee, who wanted to know the main reason most people did not attend the COVID-19 booster injection and the ministry's efforts in tackling the slow uptake. However, Dr. Noor Azmi said the Ministry of Health or MOH expected the rate of booster dose to increase as the DCA had approved Sinovac's CoronaVac vaccine and AstraZeneca vaccine to be used as booster doses on November 17, thus enabling homologous doses to be implemented. Responding to the main reason why most people do not favor booster injections, he said this was because they had yet to get clear information. According to him, the results of the questionnaire also found that only 48.8% stated that they had enough information about the booster dose. Permodalan Nasional Berhad's wholly owned unit trust management company, Amanah Saham Nasional Berhad, has declared an income distribution payout of 5 sen per unit for its flagship unit trust fund, Amanah Saham Bumiputra or ASB, for the financial year ending December 31, 2021. The payout comprised an income distribution of 4.25 sen per unit, as well as a bonus payment of 0.75 sen, totaling 8.9 billion ringgit, which will benefit 10.4 million ASB unit holders, bringing the fund's total cumulative income distribution and bonus to 168.5 billion ringgit since it was first introduced in 1990. Group Chairman Tun Arifin Zakaria said ASB's performance continues to be competitive compared to other low-risk investment instruments, and ongoing efforts to diversify and enhance the portfolio have generated excellent outcomes. In a virtual ASB dividend announcement today, Arifin said ASB performed well despite the backdrop of uncertain financial markets as well as a worldwide economic recovery hampered by the introduction of new COVID-19 variants and an increase in new cases throughout the year. Meanwhile, PNB President and Group Chief Executive Ahmad Zulkarnain On, in his performance briefing, said, despite the challenging environment, it was encouraging to see the growing number of Malaysians investing with PNB, as well as the increase in the size of investments. He said ASB's number of accounts increased by almost 200,000 to 10.4 million accounts, while units in circulation rose 7.4 billion or 4.3% to 181.2 billion units. ASB transaction is suspended from December 23 until January 2, 2022 for dividend distribution and will reopen on January 3, 2022. And now on to the next highlight. Dutch prosecutors said 3 Russians and a Ukrainian were fully responsible for shooting down Malaysia Airlines flight MH17 over eastern Ukraine in 2014 and should be charged guilty of murder.
The men, all of whom remain at large, could face sentences of up to life imprisonment if found guilty of helping to supply the missile system used by Russian-backed rebels to fire a rocket at the passenger jet as it flew from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur. Prosecutor Thijs Burger told judges that the 4 suspects together are fully responsible for shooting down flight MH17, which caused the death of the 298 people on board. In the second day of presenting their closing arguments, the prosecution said the evidence showed that the suspects, Russians Oleg Pulatov, Sergei Dubinsky, and Igor Girkin, and Ukrainian Leonid Karchenko, pulled the strings in the area where MH17 was shot down. The 4 were identified by a special international joint investigative team that looked into the crash of flight MH17 and were later named by Dutch prosecutors. According to prosecutors, the men, who are all linked to Russian-backed rebel groups, made the shooting down of MH17 possible by arranging for a Russian-made Buk missile to be brought to the area. Under Dutch law, it does not matter that the suspect did not ultimately pull the trigger, because someone who makes someone else commit a crime can be convicted as a perpetrator of that crime, prosecutors said. A sentencing demand is expected on Wednesday at the end of the 20-month trial.
TVS membawakan kepada anda tayangan filem khas bersempena Hari Krismas. Sebuah kisah romantis antara dua insan yang masing-masing memiliki sejarah hitam dalam hubungan percintaan. Pelbagai konflik merumitkan hubungan mereka untuk diteruskan. Dapatkah mereka memperoleh penghujung yang bahagia? Jangan terlepas untuk menyaksikan Winter in Tokyo, Sabtu 25 Disember 9.30 malam, istimewa di TVS saluran 122 Astro dan My TV. Selamat menyambut Hari Krismas daripada TVS.
Pasukan Tidak Balas Kecemasan Pertahanan Awam Sided Keluarga Malaysia ditubuhkan pada 16 Mac 2006. Ia berfungsi sebagai pasukan tidak balas awal di kalangan komuniti untuk sembarang kejadian kecemasan dan bencana sebelum pasukan penyelamat utama tiba. Sasaran Angkatan Pertahanan Awam Malaysia APM ialah menubuhkan Sided Keluarga Malaysia di setiap 222 parlimen pada tahun 2022. Sasaran awal 100 hari pertama telah tercapai dengan penubuhan 44 pasukan. Peka dengan bencana yang mungkin berlaku di tempat anda. Sediakan beg ready to go anda yang mengandungi whistle, lampu suluh, kit perubatan kecemasan, power bank, kit kebersihan, tuala, air minuman, makanan tin, dokumen penting dan wang tunai. Jom sertai Sided Keluarga Malaysia di tempat anda. Keluarga Malaysia siap siaga bencana.
Thank you for staying with me. And now on to our world affairs. The television is a widely used device displaying images and sounds from all over the world for the benefit and joy of mankind. Now imagine this, a television set that is able to excite your taste buds, producing a transparent film with liquid droplets that you can taste, which will mimic the taste of whatever is being displayed on the screen. Now Taste the TV, or TTTV, is being developed by Professor Ome Miyashita of Meiji University in Japan, using a carousel of 10 flavor canisters that spray in combination to recreate the taste of a particular food.
Japanese university student Yuki Hao tells the machine she wants to eat chocolate, and moments later, a transparent film with liquid droplets slides out on top of a screen showing luscious, gooey chocolate.
すごいちゃんとミルクチョコの味がして甘くて美味しいです。
According to inventor Miyashita, the flavors of all types of food can be broken down to 10 basic tastes, such as salty, sour, sweet, bitter, spicy, and savory. The machine is programmed with recipes that allows it to recreate the taste of 20 types of food samples. He said in the COVID-19 era, this kind of technology can enhance the way people connect and interact with the outside world.
コロナ禍でずっと家にいるときに離れたところの映像を見るとか離れた人に声で話しかけるっていったことは電話とかテレビを使って行うことができますよね。でも離れたところにあるレストランの味を家にいながらにして味わうということはやはりできなかったというのがコロナ禍の一つの課題だなというふうに感じました。それをなんとか実現して家にいながらにして遠くの味を味わうことができたらというのが、自分の開発動機になります。
Miyashita works with a team of about 30 students that has produced a variety of flavor-related devices, including a fork that makes food taste richer. He said he built the TTTV prototype himself over the past year, and that a commercial version would cost about 100,000 yen, or approximately 3,674 ringgit to make.
いろんな世界中の味が味コンテンツとして流通するようなプラットフォームを作ろうと思っています。 こう例えば好きな映画を見るとか好きな音楽を聴くのと同じ感じで好きな国の好きなレストランの好きな料理の味をダウンロードして味わうっていうことが将来的にできたらいいなというふうに思っています。
He said potential applications include long-distance learning for sommeliers and cooks and tasting games and quizzes. Miyashita has also been in talks with companies about using his flavor spray technology for applications such as a device that can apply the taste of pizza or chocolate to a slice of toasted bread.
Now over in Thailand, a creative restaurant owner has built a Christmas tree out of oyster shells. The Chai Kai Hoi restaurant in Krabi province, southern Thailand, erected the almost 2-meter Christmas tree to celebrate the holiday season.
Instead of discarding the used shells from their leftovers, the staff washed them thoroughly and amassed them to build the eco-friendly Christmas decoration. Video footage shows waitresses presenting the tree, which was adorned with fairy lights and placed next to gift boxes in the middle of the restaurant. 26-year-old waitress Nattarika Kanchana said, quote, "The idea came to our minds when we saw that there were large amounts of seashells from the spicy salad dishes we served. I think our Christmas tree is quite unique."
And that concludes TVS Nightline for tonight. And as always, thank you for tuning in to your local news tonight. Here with me, Shosha Mato, and I'll see you next time. Have a good morning.